But a very similar thing is happening once again in 2026. So that is Caracas, Venezuela in the real world on January 3rd. This is Caracas in Call of Duty Ghost.
What is good, y'all? YD here, back with another video, and today I found some crazy information pertaining to the Venezuelan takeover with Trump and Call of Duty Ghosts. I know it sounds crazy, but hear my boy out. Let's get into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I absolutely was not planning on making this video, and I know we said we'd be working with a new editor, but this thing happened fast and it absolutely needs to be talked about. Dr. Disrespect has been arrested. Dude, that's not the doc, man. But it looks like it. Yeah, I know, it looks exactly like right. So what actually happened here is, once again, just like last year, almost this exact same thing happened where Call of Duty predicted the future. If you don't know what happened in the real world over the last couple days, is basically America invaded Venezuela and took their president captive. I'm not kidding.
So if you haven't seen that video on him taking their president captive, I got a video on that. You can go check it out. Also, in my video, I was talking about him doing it for oil, you know, and then watching this video, it makes the rabbit hole goes a little deeper than what I thought and what we thought. But let me get y'all back into it.
Now, the crazy part about this is this happened in Call of Duty, and Call of Duty called it years ago. But this isn't the first time that Call of Duty has predicted things right. This happened almost exactly 1 year ago, and I made a video on it. So here's what happened. So last year was 2025. It just so happened that Call of Duty Black Ops 2 took place in 2025. I know it's weird to believe that now Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is a video game that actually took place in the past. I know, that's weird to begin with, but what's even weirder is that this game was created in the year 2012, and it predicted so much correctly about what happened in the real world in 2025. First things first, this is what happened last year in the real world.
Halting the export of those valuable rare earths, which are critical for so many US high-tech industries.
So essentially, China owns the rights to all of these rare earths that are used for computer chips and things along those lines. And because they halted the export of them, the USA responded and in turn increased tariffs. That's essentially the story of what happened in 2025. Well, this is the story of what happened in Black Ops 2.
Give me your phone. Go ahead. Rare earth elements. Whole fucking world runs on this shit. Who controls all of it? China.
So quite literally, those rare earths are what caused the war that happened within Black Ops 2. But a very similar thing is happening once again in 2026. So that is Caracas, Venezuela in the real world on January 3rd. This is Caracas in Call of Duty Ghost.
So again, if y'all go back and watch my video, it's no coincidence. Trump said in the meeting, you know, he said they practice this. They practice this so much to where they can do it with their eyes closed or in the dark or however he said it. So that lets me think, like, you know, they've been planning this. They even put it in the game. Got other people playing it to see how they do it. You know what I'm saying? And then they even had the whole layout of the whole building already when they went and infiltrated. So, and then I also heard that they had like a mock version of the city, of the capital, that they practice in. But let's get back into it.
Now, to understand how these two are actually tied together and how, once again, Call of Duty predicted the real world, you first have to understand the backstory of Call of Duty Ghosts. So let's go into what the Ghosts actually are and how Venezuela ties into the whole thing.
It was a different time, a different enemy. 60 men from Tier 1 teams were sent to face down a force of 500 enemy fighters. Their objective? To force the enemy back from a civilian hospital and keep its occupants alive. For 3 days, they held their ground. But the enemy's numbers were too great. The 60 were cut down to 15.
This is Ghost Stories. It tells the story of a group of 15 soldiers that survived during the Tel Aviv War, protecting a hospital and eventually eliminating all of the enemy soldiers. Now, this is where the story of Call of Duty Ghosts begins, during the Tel Aviv War. Because you see, once this all went down, the United States, NATO, Russia, China, and even India were all running out of natural resources, and the main of which was actually oil. This is when the South American countries all banded together to create an army called the Federation. The Federation is what we were fighting against. So to come out of this Tel Aviv war, thousands and thousands of soldiers perished. However, who didn't was this small group of soldiers who were said to have supernatural powers. And here is how the enemy referred to them as.
When the dust and sand had settled, only one of the enemy had survived. He was picked up in the desert, wandering aimlessly, traumatized. He expressed warnings to others of a force so menacing and unbeatable, it could only be described as supernatural. He called them ghosts.
I ain't gonna lie, after watching that little trailer thing, kind of got me hype all over again, like when I was younger, to go play it, man. It kind of make me want to go play it. I don't know. Ghost was kind of crappy to me out of, all the other Call of Duty games. But after watching that again, it got me a little bit of hype.
So you may be wondering why in Call of Duty Ghosts they wrote Venezuela as kind of like this world leader. It seems like a kind of odd pick to lead South America in the Federation, but it's actually not. And I think it's better that I don't explain it to you, but rather Jim from The Office.
Let me ask you this. Which one of these places can claim to have the largest oil deposit on the planet? More than Saudi, more than Iran? The fact is that Venezuela is arguably the single greatest resource of oil and minerals on the planet.
Okay, yeah, I know that was Jack Ryan, but yeah, Venezuela is incredibly rich when it comes to natural resources, hence why the world, once all of the natural resources were kind of out of Saudi Arabia, they joined together to create the Federation Army to basically fight back against the United States. So the year is 2016, and it's when the Federation Army is just coming to be. The Ghosts are then sent into, well, Caracas.
The man could walk through hell and not get burned. Ghosts were the best of the best, but Rourke was the reason they were feared.
We are here for one man! Amalgo! Follow my lead! Merrick, Ajax, left flank, Elias, you're with me!
So this mission actually takes place in 2016, not when the rest of the game takes place, and we'll get to that in a minute. But our characters, the Ghosts, including Rourke, who we'll get to in a second, get sent in to Venezuela to take out the leader of the Federation Army, the general by the name of Diego Almagro. Probably saying his name wrong, but they're sent into the capital, Caracas, to go hunt him down and either capture him or kill him. And by the very end of the mission, this is what takes place. So the leader of the Federation Army is killed by the Ghosts, but all the while they were going about this mission, the city becomes flooded. And when it does, not just the general is killed, but also Rourke falls and ends up falling into the water. And when he does, he is taken in by the Venezuelans, tortured, and turned from a ghost into a ghost killer. That's essentially the premise of Call of Duty Ghosts. But let's compare this to what's happening in the real world. So in the real world, what has happened, at least so far, is America has gone in and raided Venezuela, specifically Caracas. Why? Well, let's ask Jim once again.
The fact is that Venezuela is arguably the single greatest resource of oil and minerals on the planet.
As we mentioned in Call of Duty Ghosts, this is why the Federation Army was formed. Now, in Call of Duty Ghosts, you go in and take out the leader of the Federation Army. Now, in the real world, this army is called the National Bolivian Armed Forces of Venezuela, and the leader of that is Maduro. So, in the real world, we didn't go in and kill him like in Call of Duty Ghosts, but rather ended up capturing him. So then when we fast forward, if you didn't know, Call of Duty Ghosts actually takes place not in 2026, but rather 2027 and into 2028. And in fact, that's when we see the newer generation of Ghosts once again go back into Caracas. But this time, it is a built up, beautiful city because of the natural resources and because of the Federation. So the Federation uses this money from the natural resources to completely rebuild up Venezuela from the ground up, essentially making it a much nicer place than it is before. Well, guess what Donald Trump said that he wanted to do?
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
So in other words, the United States of America, or specifically Donald Trump, is trying to build up Venezuela in the same way that the Federation Army did. Now here's the big worry, is in Call of Duty Ghost, once they go in and take out the leader of the Federation Army, does anybody know how they responded? Let's just say hopefully this is where Call of Duty Ghost stops predicting the future.
And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so.
2, 1, push! Come on! Dad said he was going for the truck. We have to find him! Get across! Quick! Keep running! We can get through this! Through that house! We gotta jump! Just keep running! Dad, we're okay! Come on, Logan! Get me now! We gotta get out of here! You're gonna be alright, son! Hold on, boys!
But y'all get the point. And do y'all feel like this is a coincidence? Or was this something planned? Or it's just a game? You know what I'm saying? Let me know your thoughts down below. Like, share, subscribe, comment. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. And I'm out.